The beauty of old school RuneScape is that there is seemingly endless content to do, and sometimes that's actually overwhelming. Well, thanks to the most overpowered plugin in the game, we're simply just going to be told what to do, so we don't have to think about it. Recently, we've utilized the Quest Helper plugin to help us knock out over 10 quests in the game. A lot of these quests were early game quests, but some of them gave us a pathway to unlocking future content on this account. For example, we now know that we are on the path to doing the Final Dawn and ultimately unlocking Doom of Mocha. So that's just one such example. Today, we carry that on and we have a whole lot of other quests to do. We have over 30 quests to do still on this account, and beyond the Final Dawn for Doom of Mocha, there's also Beneath Cursed Sands to unlock a whole raid, Tombs of a Masket. So a lot of things to look forward to on this account, but without further ado, let's get started. This is a public service announcement to remind you to do your birdhouse runs. Just made my way into Varrock, and the quest we are starting this session out with is Rat Catchers. Probably not the best idea. This could be a little frustrating, but surely it will turn out okay, right? Well, let's talk to Gertrude and let's get started. Hopefully a Hellcat actually works either, as well, I should say, because I don't have any other options right now. I might have to grow another cat if it doesn't work. Okay, so far in the quest, no issues with having a Hellcat over a normal cat, and we've made it to probably the most infamous part of the Rat Catchers quest. Let's take our time here and hopefully not get caught. And we are off to a terrible start. I've been saying the praises of the Quest Helper plugin, but ironically enough, I think this part of the quest, I should not follow the Quest Helper to a T. The line that's drawn out here is a good rough guideline, but alright, okay. But as I was saying, the drawn out line here is a rough guideline, but for example, well, this is a bad example. The line actually works this time, but I was standing around here waiting in the beginning and the line just wasn't going to work out based on the guard's pathing. So actually got to combine the use of your brain and these lines here to maybe progress a little bit quicker. It's been a long time since I did Rat Catchers, but I still remember how frustrating this can be, and yeah, it still remains true to this day. It just seems like sometimes these guards have eyes in the back of their heads. It's like visually what they're looking at, the direction they're facing, and their area of vision, or what the game tells them, is not the same. There's been a few times where I've ran past a guard thinking the guard's looking the other way, and then I still get caught anyways, which is something I don't understand. Alright, we managed to make it upstairs. This part, if I remember right, is actually more difficult than outside. So let's really, really take our time here and pay attention to the guard's rotations. I managed to catch one rat and then I got caught trying to rotate to the other side of the building. Luckily, when you do get caught after you make it inside the building, you get put right outside by this tree over here, rather than all the way in the beginning again. So yeah, once again, let's take our time and try not to frustrate ourselves by rushing it and then failing over and over again. Okay, we managed to make it over here. Very nice. Okay, getting from the bedroom to this room that's actually right next to it, but you have to go through the hallway and stuff, was a lot of waiting. Now, where's my cat? Call follower. Let's not mess this up now. Alright, after some time, we finally got done with that portion of the quest. To my memory, that is the only annoying part of this quest. Hopefully the other parts of the quest aren't so bad, and we just fly through this quest and then hit the ground running for all the other quests we still have to do. Alright, we have to pay close attention here. We've sent our Hellcat in to fight the King Rat. And the Quest Helper even reminds you of this, but important note, you gotta use your food on the hole and not on the cat. Oh, speaking of which, let's go ahead and do that now. Hellcat's actually winning this fight pretty convincingly, but I think every now and then the King Rat just randomly does a lot of damage to your cat, so do have to pay attention to that. I'm not sure if I've ever used a Hellcat for this quest in the past before, so maybe that helps as well. Yeah, actually, I gave my cat one piece of food, and looks like it's smooth sailing here. Okay, I've been standing around for a couple of seconds now. Evidently, both the cat and the rat have one attack or something, because it's just 0 after 0 after 0. And there we have it after some time. Yeah, that wasn't so bad. I guess it being a Hellcat helped a lot, I think. This is another indication as to how backwards this account is. I had to make my way over here, even though the quest helper tells me to go to Kelderim, because I have to pick up another cat speak amulet. I must have got rid of it after the completion of Dragon Slayer 2, and apparently I need one for this quest. I believe I'm supposed to talk to the Sphinx here. Oh, I need my cat. The Sphinx won't talk to me unless I have my cat. There we go. Do you have a spare amulet? Yep, there we go. All right, let's continue with the quest now. After a bit of time, there we have it. Rat catchers completed. Next up on the list is the Garden of Death. Now, I believe this quest is pretty unique in the sense that this is the only quest with no NPC dialogue. Every quest besides this one in the game always involves some form of talking to NPCs. Well, let's head on over to the region of Zeah, because that's where we're going to start this quest. Yep, the perfect example right here. You start out the quest by interacting with the tent in the middle of seemingly nowhere, just south of the Chambers of Xerix. Well, that was certainly a lot quicker than Rat Catchers. There we have it, 1 quest point and 10,000 farming XP, which would otherwise be very nice if we weren't already 99 farming. However, this quest is relevant because it is a prerequisite to Desert Treasure 2. If you didn't know, I've been following the optimal ordering for Ironman in the quest helper filters. The next quest up is Current Affairs, which actually requires a 22 sailing level requirement. Right now we are just level 18. Now we ran into this problem before with sailing levels specifically, and we went ahead and did Tears of Guthix, just to skip some levels. I think we went from like 5 to 15. This time around, however, I think I'm actually going to train the skill. 18 to 22 shouldn't take too long. When you first begin sailing, you actually just get a raft. At level 15, however, you unlock the skiff. So we're going to talk to Junior Jim here at Pandemonium and purchase a skiff for 15,000 coins. This is obviously a bigger boat, and it's going to be a little quicker than the raft. We're not going to spend too much time on upgrades and whatnot though. Although at level 18, there's probably not too many upgrade options. We're just going to go ahead and do the port tasks here, the cargo ones anyways, the courier ones, and then we'll just go back and forth and we should hit 22 sailing shortly. So yeah, I'm going to start sailing the seas, delivering cargo, and then we will check back in when we're ready to do current affairs. Oh, and just as we did in the previous questing session where we kept our maxed account logged in for POH access, last time we were doing amethyst mining. This time around, I'm doing some blood rune crafting at Zeah. Not the quickest method of obtaining blood runes by any means, but it is very low intensity, pretty chill to do. And again, the main priority is just keeping the account logged in so that I can TP around the map on the other account. Here we go, delivering one final piece of cargo, getting us to 22 sailing. You can now chart sea currents after completing current affairs. Okay, that makes sense why we needed level 22. I actually ended up doing the same task over and over again just because it was the most efficient task to do. Last time I was here doing any sailing content, the plugins weren't... Oh, I just got a charting task completed. Last time I was doing sailing, the plugins weren't as complete as they are now, so when we hover over these tasks, it actually tells us the efficiency EXP per tile of each particular task. So back then on release, I was just doing them, you know, whatever I felt like. I was just clicking on random things really. But now when you do sailing, you do know how efficient each task is going to be. So I suppose that's pretty neat. But anyways, let's get started on current affairs. To begin the quest, I have to head on over to Catherby. There's actually a port task here that sends me to Catherby, so I might as well, right? I'm going to get a whopping 260 something EXP for this. And we have arrived at Catherby, okay? Cash in on 263 EXP, and let's get started on this quest by talking to Arhine over here. Current Affairs is a pretty goofy quest, but it is pretty integral to this sailing skill, so good to get it out the way now, rather than having to do this when we actually want to focus on the sailing skill down the line. And there we have it, Current Affairs completed. 1,400 sailing EXP, which actually is going to net us a good couple of levels. 1,000 fishing EXP, access to charting currents. So yeah, that's what I meant by this being integral to the skill. And yeah, we're up to 286 quest points now. and we reached 24 sailing with that. Couple upgrade unlocks for our boat, but we're not going to worry about that right now. The next quest up is Darkness of Hallowvale. This is in the Mauritania region, and it's about time I start getting these done, because while I have been to Tob a few times, I still don't have the medallion, the Draken's medallion, to quickly teleport over there. So every time I've had to do Tob or recharge my scythe or something, I actually have to run over there, which is not very ideal. This is the quest line that we should be focusing and prioritizing the most, but we're just going to be following the optimal order in the quest helper. If you're in the Mauritania region and you don't mention settled, are you really in the Mauritania region? As part of this quest, we've made it into Mire Ditch. Now the quest helper is really going to shine in this area, because navigating it without the quest helper back in the day, well, this was a massive pain, because look, there's just all these buildings around, all these little hallways, doorways that you have to figure out. Even looking at the mini map in the top right corner can be confusing. This segment right here is exactly what I'm talking about. You have to go into the buildings, climb up ladders, and hop from building to building, go through doorways and walls and whatnot. Well, the quest helper just highlights everything for you, and we're going to get through this as quickly as possible. It's not often these days that you run into stamina issues with all the changes they've made over the years, but I guess this is one of them. This area is so big, and on top of that, I guess I'm not wearing my graceful, right? So I'm not doing myself any favors. After a lot of running around, we are finally done with the Darkness of Hallowvale quest. We'll get ourselves 2 quest points, some agility EXP, thieving, 2,000 construction, and Tome of Experience. You know what? I forgot about that. What am I going to put the tome in? It's 3 of them even, and I can actually put them in just about any skill. I was not prepared for this. I'm actually not sure what I want to do. Well, for all of our EXP lamps, we've actually been putting it into Slayer, and I suppose I will keep doing that. Might as well, right? 2,000 EXP there, another 2,000, and another 2,000. With all the EXP lamping, we're actually getting closer and closer to 88 Slayer. But with that quest out of the way now, I have to do a birdhouse run. We're actually well overdue for that. And we're also going to take a breather from the questing, break up the questing grind a little bit by doing some agility. We're currently 35k EXP away from 81. We're currently on our last lap, and then we will hit 81 agility. Now, as I've been doing these laps, it occurred to me that if I had the hard Fremennik diaries, my EXP per hour would actually be better. I always knew that marks of grace would increase if you had the diary done, but I did not know it actually affected EXP rates as well. So that's pretty interesting. Maybe I should look to get the diary done before I do any more laps. But oh, we don't even have to finish the lap. Just 1 obstacle shy, but that's 81 agility. You can now use the Waterbird Dungeon Crevice shortcut and the Slayer Tower Ivy climb. Yeah, let's get back to questing. The next quest up is My Arms Big Adventure. I think that's going to net us some Herblore EXP, which is always nice. Well, scratch that. For this quest, there is a 60% favor requirement for the Taibo One Eye Cleanup minigame, and I'm going to be honest, I quite simply cannot be bothered with that right now. So we're going to skip that one over, and the next quest up in the list is a more relevant one. And in speaking about the hard diary just now, this is purely a coincidence, but one of the requirements I'm missing for the hard diary is the completion of Fremennik Isles, and that is exactly the next quest up. We have all the requirements we need for this quest, so let's go ahead and get started on this one. As we work on this quest here, you might be wondering, how have you managed not to do the Fremennik Isles this far into the account? Because this quest actually unlocks the Helm of Nadesnot. However, I believe that it actually has a 55 defense requirement, if we can find it here in the stats page. Yep, there it is actually. Members item, Helm of Nadesnot, after Fremennik Isles, is actually 55 defense, and our account has been capped at 50 defense. So our best in slot melee helm has always been the Blood... Why does it say Blood Rager set in here? It's the Blood Moon set. When did they change it to Blood Rager? What? Huh. But the point is, this has always been my best in slot helmet. Ah yes, this is the quest where we get the Jester outfit. Well, even in Gillinor, you cannot escape taxes. We're out here collecting taxes from the people in the name of the king. 5,000 coins, thank you. Alright, we are geared up, well, with what we have on the account anyways. The other account sitting at Zaya doing blood rune crafting, and I can't be bothered to go over to the bank and trade over stuff. But Fremennik Trials isn't too difficult of a quest, especially considering that... Oh my god, we're getting slapped right now, actually. Maybe I spoke too soon. But, I mean, I don't think this should be too difficult. So we do have the yak hide armor. That is a requirement for the quest. As well as the Natus Knot shield that we also made. And I'm heading the wrong direction. Things are falling apart. Basically, we have the bare minimum for what we need to do this quest. We're about to do some fights. Kill a Ice King, I believe. Ice Troll King, yep, so yeah, let's get to it. I'm not even in the cave yet and I'm getting absolutely smacked right now, jeez. Alright, we made it into the cave. It did take a fair few Karam wands though. Honestly, playing this account, I always forget that it's essentially a glass cannon. I do a lot of damage because I have all the gear and whatnot, but I'm only 50 defense. And here we are, a level 122 Ice Troll King. We might be a little over leveled for this, I don't know. Just a little bit. One more hit. And there we go. And as proof for getting the job done, just like in Dragon Slayer, although that animation was not quite as epic, is it fair to say that Fremennik Isles is an iconic quest? I don't know, let me know down in the description, but ooh, we're claiming our rewards now at the end of the quest. You may choose melee combat skills to advance by 10,000 EXP. Oh, this is a tough one, you know, I was under the impression that we could put it in any combat stats, but it's melee specifically. And, you know, I have mentioned previously in the series that we're going to be moving on from the 50 defense and 82 attack. But I don't think I'm quite ready for that yet, so we're just gonna arbitrarily put it in strength. If I was allowed to put it in other combat stats, I would definitely put it into magic right now, because we're actually still 98 magic, and we have been 98 magic for the longest time. And there we have it officially, you have completed the Fremennik Isles. 10,000 woodcutting EXP, that's probably pretty good for us, getting us closer to 72. Or were we 70 woodcutting? I don't even know. I guess we'll find out after we close this message. But 5,000 crafting XP, also good for us. Construction XP, also good for us because we're just at 70. The Helm of Natus Knot, which we can't even use. But yeah, okay, we were level 70 woodcutting, and now we're 71. A lot of the stats here, we just got the bare minimum for, of course, Song of the Elves. But now in doing more quests, we're getting EXP. And we're continuing to level. We're all the way up to 1910 total level now. With the completion of Fremennik Isles, that opens up the door for us to do not only Fremennik Medium Diary, but Fremennik Hard Diary, in which it's going to net us bonus EXP at the Relica Agility course, like we mentioned earlier. So let's go ahead and do that now, because it's good to get it out the way now before I only get the benefit of the bonus EXP for a couple of levels. We're still level 81 Agility right now, and I have been doing more laps. Actually, we're 117k removed from 82, but 81 to 90 is a long way to go, so let's make sure we make use of the bonus EXP. And yes, if you were wondering, the quest helper not only helps with the quest, which is in its name, but it actually helps with achievement diaries as well as a few other things, like if you ever need to figure out how to get to Dagonoth Kings, it'll help you with the routing on that as well. So very, very useful plugin in more ways than one. For this next task in the Medium Diary, we need to use the Eagles that you unlock after the completion of Eagle's Peak quest. Now let me know in the comment section down below, has any of you actually used this means of transportation other than to simply do the, I keep wanting to say combat task, but achievement task. Has anyone unironically used this? Because I certainly have never used it outside of just completing the achievement diary. I mentioned the routing to the Dagnaught Kings earlier, and while we're not actually doing that because the task involves us going towards the lighthouse all the way from Waterbirth Island, this is a pretty troll achievement task. Honestly, most of the achievement tasks in any diary in any region, they're kind of silly. You just have to meet the requirements. Mostly it's quest requirements or skill level requirements more times than not, and we're absolutely taking a beating right now. Let me just make sure to stay alive. Hopefully I brought enough food. We're almost there, and you know, I didn't exactly remember this, but turns out that the path to the lighthouse is actually the same pathing to the Dagnaught Kings, because here we are down the ladder and that's going to be the bosses. But I guess we just keep running past that, and this is where we gain access to the lighthouse. Interesting. Well, here we are. Okay. Did I finish the task? Indeed, I did. All right, let's get out of here. As far as the medium diary goes, we have one final task to do, and this task really exposes the weird state of the account right now. So let's go ahead and go to our POH. Not the shared POH from the maxed account, but this account's actual POH. It's located in Assidious. Honestly, I didn't even remember that. Let's go inside, and yeah, there is absolutely nothing in here. However, our achievement task requires us to build a pet menagerie. Did I pronounce that right? I don't even know. But we got to put our pet rock in there, so let's get to doing that. Menagerie. Not Ray. Menagerie. In order to do that, I believe we need to create a garden room. Hopefully it's not something else. I think it's the garden. Let's go ahead and build that. It was not the garden. It was not the garden. All right, let's go over here. Let's actually take a look through the options here. Oh. Build that. All right, let's go ahead and build that. And then build pet house space. We'll just do an oak one for now, which is, I think, all we have access to, really. And then let's go ahead and put our pet rock in there. Or do we have to get out of build mode? We do not. Oh, and then we have to pick up the pet rock off the ground, but I don't even see it. Let's get out of build mode for this. Where's our pet rock? There's our pet rock. And there we have it. That is Relica Medium Diaries, or Fremennik Medium Diaries completed. Let's go claim our rewards and then move on to the hard tier, which is what our ultimate goal was. Let's speak to this NPC here, and this self-completed medium diaries. Fremennik Sea Boots 2, and we get an antique lamp in which, again, through the course of this account, I've been putting EXP lamps in Slayer, so I'll just continue to do that. 7,500 Slayer EXP, and I'm kind of surprised we didn't gain a level yet, but I guess we're still 15,000 EXP away from 88. The first task we're doing for the hard diary is to get 100% support for your Kingdom of Miscellanea. I don't think I've ever actually done any Kingdom. I don't think I've ever had it running on this account. So yeah, we were at like 25% favor or whatever it was. So yeah, we're going to be here for a while. The quest helper does tell me to use the rake and go fix up the herb and flax patches, but just wood cutting is just going to be nice and AFK. I'll just leave this going in the background. Okay, wood cutting has definitely taken a little while, but we're now at 99%, so a couple more chops here and we're going to reach 100%. Oh, perfect timing, actually. Looking ahead at all the tasks I have to do for the hard tier here, it looks like I'm going to get this done much quicker than the mediums, funny enough. So yeah, let's get to it. Next step is to mine 5 adamant ore down in the mines over here. Actually, how do I even get there? Again, like a lot of these tasks, like I don't think you'd ever actually do if it wasn't just simply for doing the achievement diary. Like who has unironically come over here to mine? Hello? Pathing, please? Who has unironically come over here to access the mine? As I'm doing this task, 2 things come to mind. I should have brought some tick manipulation to speed this up, and I also should have brought a dragon pickaxe. It's not like I only have one of those. I have like 6 or 7, maybe even more than that, because of our Calvarion grind, our infamous Calvarion grind. Next task, Relica region, just make a super defense. There we go. And then let's go ahead and run north, and we're going to do some hunter real quick for the next task. What the? That wasn't supposed to happen. Well, jump over the same... Really? I just lost the log. Are you serious? Made my way over the Calderon, just stole a gem from the gem stall, and then we head on over to the blast furnace, in which I believe now that we have 60 smithing, well, we've had 73 smithing for like the longest time now, we actually have free access to the blast furnace. Well, in the sense that you don't have to pay that extra bonus if you were below 60. You still have to pay the fee that drains your coffer every minute or so, or whatever it is. But if you're 60 or below, you have to pay an extra fee on top of that. These dwarves are squeezing you of your GP. Next step, we teleport to Waterbirth Island, and we ought to be on the Lunar Spellbook. So let's go to the POH real quick. Very convenient for us. Imagine if we didn't have access to this POH, we'd have to run all the way over there. So Lunar Spellbook, and then where's the spell at? Am I blind? Oh, that's Tele Group. You know, I never used the teleports on the Lunar Spellbook, so I actually couldn't recognize them out of the book. But there I just teleported to the wrong location. Okay, let me get the runes out of the bank. Astral runes. Waterbirth Island, this one. There we go. Yeah, I can't remember the last time I used the Lunar Spellbook to use teleports. Only time I remember on the spellbook is for Vengeance and Spellbook Swap. And Podshare, actually, more recently. But that was actually our last task. So let's head on over to Relica and then claim our rewards. Now we should have EXP bonuses for whenever we're doing this course right here. And we're going to be here for the next 9 levels, actually. At 90, we're going to move on to the Arty course. But yeah, we're going to be here for quite a while. We've completed another tier. I've upgraded your Fremennik sea boots for you. They can now teleport here 5 times per day. You can now change your Lyre teleport location. I've never used that either. To Waterbirth Island. Access 2 new lunar spells. Wait, what? What are those spells? Honestly, I have no idea. That's news to me. I've never noticed that. Okay, another EXP lamp though. We're putting that into Slayer. That's 15,000 Slayer EXP, and we're 150 EXP shy. We're at 99.9% until 88 Slayer, which I don't believe that actually unlocks anything for us at 88, right? Doesn't sound very notable. Nope, our next unlock's going to be at 90 for Dark Beast. All right. Well, with all that being said, that's all I have time for right now. I'm not sure what the game plan is. Maybe we will continue doing more quests on the next session. But Fremennik cards were what we set out to do, and we accomplished it, so I'm pretty happy with that.